It's the summer of 1914 and a tanned aquatic Hawaiian paddles out into the surf. The local crowd that has gathered hold their breath as he turns and catches a breaking wave, standing tall, riding a solid board back to the beach. The man is Duke Kahanamoku, and this is Freshwater Beach. It's one of surfing's sacred sites, holy ground in a nation where surfing is a religion. To visit here is a pleasure. To actually live here, a rare privilege. And from timber, like the Duke's first board, a new sandcastle has been fashioned, an award-winning piece of architecture that sits on hallowed ground.
The very first thing we did, we went for a walk along the beach and we pointed out all the old shacks on the southern headland here.
I don't know where the look of this house originally came from.
It's what we've always wanted, was a sort of a beach holiday with a city feel.
And if you get it wrong, you've got to knock it over. You've really got no choice. You can't patch, you can't repair.
I think it's maybe like childbirth.
You forget the pain.
The nickname, Concrete Castle.
They're going to be dragging us out of here in a box, I think.
Yeah.
We're never moving.
I love coming to this beach with its history and consistent break. I'd arranged to meet the architectural team, the builder and the owners just across the road from this award-winning home.
I'd like to introduce my architects here.
Boys in the band.
Larry.
Hey Larry,
Peter.
how you going? With the imagination?
Ian's our other architect.
Okay, okay.
And Elvis is our builder.
Put it together.
And Catherine, my wife.
How do you do?
And we came up with this idea of a crate that had maybe fallen off a ship and had been tumbled around in the waves and had come to rest on the beach, and the tide had withdrawn and you saw it was sitting on a sort of a bit of a rocky outcrop.
This is the first house designed by the architectural firm Brewster Yorth in 10 years. Normally, they do bigger buildings like libraries and art galleries.
It's an amazing site. It's got this fantastic view out over the ocean over here, and it's next to a public park here, and then crammed in against neighbours sort of on behind and to the other side. So it's really got, it has to respond differently on each facade.
This facade, you can almost close it down and close its eyes, if you like.
It's exactly how it was designed. The screen can roll back and forth to sort of open up, and it also pivots. These hopper window can close down and sort of give a whole lot of privacy from the park here and from the neighbours across the park.
And on the other side, you've treated the washed up timber crate differently again.
Yeah, it's missing tooth bits, you know, it's sort of really falling apart. That was really where it got the most damage on the other side.
Ian, we're about 100 metres from the water's edge, and it's a very, very public site.
Yeah, and you should see it on the weekends. I mean, it buzzes here. But it was an important part of the client's brief that they wanted to be part of that action.
We're not going to shroud ourselves behind walls. You know, we want to take everything in, and if that includes people and cars, then we'll do that. It's all part of the beach culture.
That was one of the aspects we had to think about, was at times here this can be really, really busy.
Yep.
And you've got to, we actually have to be able to live with that.
And the whole way that they wanted to relate to their use of the beach and how they could, you know, bring the boards back and shower off and just stack the boards in the garage there, the way the main entry opened, and the choice of finishes. Easy clean, hose down if it has to be.
I love the idea of the washed up crate and the way these different facades have interpreted that. It's beautiful.
4 different angles to the building, 4 different facades. I don't think you've seen the rear one yet, have you? Come and have a look.
This is such a public building. Literally thousands of people walk past this every day. The tendency could have been to build a big fence here, but they haven't done it, and that's a real brave decision.
Come inside.
It's a wonderful, it's like my cave down here.
Yeah, it's a beach cave, and that was the whole idea.
I love how that corner's been cut out. You can see right through to the beach.
Yeah, actually, you know what? We didn't cut it away. We just never built it. Yeah. The whole idea was to make the upper floor seem it was floating, and the corner would have just made it too solid.
Tell us about how big the house is.
It's a 3-level house. The kids' bedrooms essentially are on the ground floor. The heart of the house is on the next floor up, and the parents' refuge right on the top with their own deck.
What about this finish? That is just immaculate.
So it's French remedy, yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Now, Ian, that is a house I recognise.
Yeah, that's the Rose Seidler house. Harry Seidler's first house in Australia he built for his mum. It was one of Kath's favourite houses, and she asked us to sort of include that in our inspiration for the design.
This is the inside of the crate.
It's the formal dining, it's the living, it's the family, it's the kitchen.
We talked about the inside of the box, and that's the result of the western facade, those little pivot windows on the outside. I mean, that reminds me of the old beach shack where the stud work's exposed.
I'd given Larry the brief that I wanted somewhere to display my pottery and my glass and the mid-century modern pieces that I'd picked up, and I had no idea he'd actually designed that. So that was a real surprise, and I absolutely love it.
Now that's the western facade, and on the eastern facade you've got this sort of screen which hovers on the outside of the building.
The missing teeth, yeah, that's the bits of the crate that really didn't weather the storm very well, and the bits broke off. And the whole idea, we didn't really need a screen out there, but we just wanted to sort of extend the house a little bit further out.
Have a look at the chamfering on that slab.
Isn't it fantastic? And look, and that's what I was talking about before. I mean, in this case, it's really easy to draw a 45-degree line, but it's really hard for the builder to build it and build it just so well.
That's microsurgery.
It is, it is. Look, this is an important room, and this is where the family comes together to celebrate all their important events.
And meet in the middle.
We meet in the middle.
Sandcastles, proudly supported by Boral. Build something great. Coming up after the break, the eureka moment and how two creative minds push the boundaries of what was possible.
We got Larry over to see if we could actually build a house that we wanted on a very small block.
Sandcastles, proudly supported by the Australian Institute of Architects, where you can find an architect to suit your needs. Bruce Craven has tailored his life around the water. He works in the city, but only has to commute to the next beach, Manly, to catch the ferry to work.
Come over to the kitchen, there's Kath.
Kath, this is a remarkably clean kitchen
Yes,
with a person with 3 kids.
Doesn't always look like this. It's usually covered.
This is a remarkable material. It's like a resin.
It is. I think it probably is a resin. It's called Marbleau, and it is a little bit different than using a stone bench top or Corian or something like that. We wanted something different. We really like the idea of it because it's quite translucent.
Notice too that the ceiling comes down in here, which helps define this space a little bit from the rest of the house.
That room there, it gives you the height, as you know, so you've got a lot more height in the room, and then this just closes it all in, makes it feel like a separate room, even though it's part of that room.
Kitchens have a cooktop, a sink, and a fridge, and where is it?
So the fridge is just around here in the pantry.
A little butler's pantry.
It is a butler's pantry. That was the intention, to hide things away, hide the mess away.
Now, I've thought of something, a flaw in this design. That is facing west. You couldn't sit and use that computer in the afternoon, sure.
Not when the louvers are completely open, but they do shut, and they can be angled so they can block out the westerly sun.
Thought of that. Okay,
I'll
think of something else.
The restrictions of the block meant the architects needed a eureka moment to be able to build a house for a family of 5 that met everyone's needs.
We got Larry over to see if we could actually build a house that we wanted on a very small block, because the block is actually only the size of a tennis court. It's really small.
As normal council controls are, they're pretty unimaginative, and if you'd followed them to the letter of the law, you end up with this big lump of a building.
And probably the breakthrough was coming up with a different way of treating the rear of the property.
We came up with this idea, which was to take the girls' area, their bedrooms and the sitting room, and separate them from the rest of the house and actually sort of build them underground, if you like, under what we later termed a sandhill. And by doing that, it allowed us to build it right up on the back boundary.
The pavilion was an important aspect that the architects helped us come up with.
Certainly with the rooftop garden, that we would never have come
Absolutely.
up with that. That was, that was a brainwave.
It was the perfect solution. Bedrooms facing the courtyard, living rooms the view.
Hey Pete, you want to see something fun?
Sure.
Hey, look at this window.
Look at the muscle.
Look at the muscle, yeah. And we could have done it as a sliding window, of course, but it's much more fun to disappear the whole window.
It's about 550 kilograms, so it's extremely heavy and extremely challenging, but I guess at the end of the day, it's a key pivot of the home. I mean, you've got this beautiful window that cantilevers and you get to appreciate the magnificent view.
This glass, though, seems quite high.
Look, it's there for a couple of purposes. Firstly, it gives a little bit of privacy. It's amazing how much reflection you get from outside, so you can see through it really easily from inside. From outside, it's a bit more difficult, gives you a bit of privacy. Right. And secondly, safety. You've got to imagine some kid could be standing there.
So if someone stands here,
then this is the right height.
It's the required height then for them. That's
right. And of course, the balustrade continues right the way across. When we open up this, so we turn the living room into a large balcony, then this becomes our balustrade all the way across. The thing that really appeals to me is the fact that it does so many different jobs. And it just is what this house is about. Flexibility, openness and transparency.
I mean, you could almost be a lifeguard.
You could.
From here, couldn't you?
Yeah. And you realise we're kneeling on the beer balcony without a beer.
That's almost sacrilegious, isn't it? Almost. Just off the kitchen adjacent to the stair is this little retreat. It's a library space. Now remember, this house isn't that big and every space here has multi-functions, including this, because behind this library panel is a guest bed. It takes a creative mind to think of all the potential of all these spaces. You need a good architect, and if you're looking for one, don't forget to go to findanarchitect.com.au. There you'll find A+ architects to squeeze the most out of your design.
Coming up later, your chance to win a sun-soaked holiday on Hamilton Island. When we come back, this washed-up crate breaks open to reveal a secret roof garden.
Once you build it and you've covered it with dirt, it's hard to go back, you know. So you really want to be careful that you've got that sorted before you commit.
Sandcastles, celebrating great Australian architecture. Brought to you by Boral, build something great. Freshwater House has been designed and built to make the most of the location. And one of the things it really needed to do was give the children plenty of growing room.
Downstairs, this is where this is kids' land, if you like, the kids' rooms. There's the laundry and the bathroom. This is Will's room.
Oh, g'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Doing some homework?
Yeah. Just after school.
Oh, now, what do you think of the new house?
Oh, I love it. It's close to the beach and, you know, it's alright. Come have friends over, holidays, and yeah, it's alright.
Now, this is your space looking out onto that garden with your sisters over there.
Yeah, trying to get as much privacy I can, but, you know, the blinds help a lot and, you know.
Shut them away.
Yeah, get rid of them.
And I can see you're interested in some water sports.
Yeah, I love surfing. Try and get out as much as I can.
Good breakdown that other end's always breaking.
Yeah, I love fresh airs. One of the best, I reckon, on northern beaches.
Yeah, you're natural or goofy?
I'm goofy.
Yeah. Goofy. All right, brother. Awesome. Great space.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So come out here to the private garden.
Now this is where you pull the buildings apart.
Yeah. This is what we talked about before, about creating the pavilion underneath the sandhill, you know, as it were. And then that allows us to create this sort of private courtyard, backyard. And we've joined them together with this lovely glazed link, which is a flexible glass sliding wall. So on a day like today, you can have it all open. Of course, in winter, it can be closed up, a dry link in rainy weather.
So these doors respond to the season. You can use this space at any time.
Yeah, they respond to the season as long as you push them.
But it's a very tranquil space.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
The walkway between the buildings links the two bedrooms used by the girls to the main pavilion. They are separated by a teenage retreat. None of it obstructs the neighbour's view because it's all hidden under a rooftop garden that buries these rooms under lush foliage.
You've got to say the main consideration is the waterproofing. Once you build it and you've covered it with dirt, it's hard to go back, you know. So you really want to be careful that you've got that sorted before you commit. So I want to show you one more place.
Cool.
One more thing, it's really cool, up on the roof.
All right. You know, in every great piece of architecture, often it's the spaces that you leave out are just as important as the spaces that you build. And this courtyard is a perfect example of that. It's peaceful, it's tranquil, it's the perfect foil to the public side of the building.
Up here, up on the roof, above the living area, we've got full-on parents' retreat.
Right.
Oh, hello, guys.
Hi, you are.
About time you got up here.
How are you, mate?
Hi again.
Yeah, we've had an amazing tour. Now, this is all about Mum and Dad.
It is. I'll take over from here.
Can I leave?
Yeah, great. See you, Ian.
The master bedroom.
Yeah, this is the parents' retreat area. It's sort of we've divided it off with a screen here for entertaining.
The thing I'm noticing here, though, is the hovering roof, which is going to be allowing light in. How's that when you're sleeping in bed?
Well, you'd think it would be a problem, and during the day we do get a lot of light, but in the evenings there's, you know, it's totally dark around here. The street lights are obviously down lower, so it works quite well. It's actually quite dark up here. So around the corner here, Peter, we've got the walk-in robe area, and we sort of designed in a secret bathroom. There's a bit of a reveal here, so we can pull back one of the wardrobes, and in we go. And you can see the view here from the shower.
You'd never go to work.
No, I have very long showers. So that's the view, and that's the hardest thing in the morning, is to actually have to go and put on the suit and go to work.
The architect's palette, the choice of materials, is critical in any design. Here, it's the balance between timber and concrete.
You really can't hide anymore. There's no cornices, there are no skirtings, there are no architraves, so really everything has to be completely precise.
And I particularly like this detail, the way the glass butts right up against the concrete, the heavy material balanced by the light. But this is extraordinary. The French plaster work, the old-fashioned way, right over the masonry. Now, another way to achieve this effect would be to use something like a boral plasterboard and give it a lime wash.
There is a wonderful use of windows and shutters.
And the recycled spotted gum, which is the key timber throughout the house. Now, if you like the look of timber, it does require maintenance, but it's not a bad choice in these external conditions.
Sandcastles would like to offer you the chance to win something special. Sandcastles and Hamilton Island are offering you the chance to win a holiday in this idyllic location. Just go to the website sandcastlestv.com. You could win a holiday on Hamilton by just voting for your favourite sandcastle. Coming up after the break, the view from the top.
We wanted something up here that we could entertain guests, so it works really well.
Freshwater Beach is the perfect place for a family that loves the surf and the lifestyle that goes with it. The Cravens wanted a house and location that made them feel they were always on holidays, and Bruce and his son Will use the beach every chance they get.
Peter, I wanted to show you up onto one of our favourite places in the house, which is up here on the deck.
Oh, g'day, folks.
You made it to the top.
Architect
Here they
enjoying
are.
his work. This is a spot.
One of our trusty pieces of equipment, the barbecue here. So it's a great outlook when you're cooking up the steaks.
I'd imagine this is one of the best barbecue spots on the east coast of Australia, Bruce.
It gets a tough time up here with the weather, but we wanted something up here that we could entertain guests, so it works really well.
Now, the only thing I'll say, Ian, can we somehow get these power lines moved?
Yeah, we're putting in the application, and I'm personally offering to Photoshop it out of every frame of your film.
But it's a minor blemish on what is a spectacular view on one of Australia's most iconic beaches.
Well said, Peter.
It's almost 100 years since the Duke first stood on a surfboard right out there, inspiring one of our greatest pastimes, but it's the Australian coast which I think inspires our greatest architecture. And the Freshwater house, sitting up there like a washed up crate, has its own beautiful connection with the water. Next week on Sandcastles, we visit the home that has just won the highly coveted Robin Boyd Award, the best house in Australia, as voted by the Australian Institute of Architects. Sandcastles, brought to you by Boral, build something great, and the Australian Institute of Architects.
We've had people just thumbs up as they walk past in the street, you know, people we don't know, surfers walking past, just, you know, they'll go, mwah.
You know, I say to everybody, these are my babies. I feel like they're my children. I mean, you know, I turn up and I show my children and show my wife.
Sometimes I sit and think, gosh, this is my house. I can't believe I'm living in a house this beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
I love it.
We absolutely love it. The kids love it as well.
And the fact that they love it makes it feel worthwhile, and it makes it feel to us as architects that we can still have a little bit of ownership of it. And I think that's the really special thing of this building.